For the little baby to rub, nigga, I gotta be safe.
Let's get to the sports talk.
Who's the best team in the NFC?
Seattle Seahawks, and it's because of Russell Wilson. Look, I would have said the Saints, but we saw what happened in Atlanta. Here's the thing, though. When you look at championship caliber teams, usually it's a coach and it's a quarterback.
Right.
And I'm not sure if it's any tandem that I would take over these guys at this point. You think about Sean Payton and Drew, you think about Bill and obviously Tom Brady. But right now, what Russell Wilson has the ability to do with the adage of Josh Gordon, who is not really fully implemented in this offense yet, and Clowney and Jaron Reed playing like they're playing, it's tough to say that Seattle is not the best team in the NFC.
It's not that tough for me to say that the Saints are the best team in the NFC. The Saints they've been in the conversation for the best team in football all the way up to last week. Listen, don't pay any attention to what happened against the Falcons. The Saints still have Drew Brees, who is probably going to benefit from not having to play a ton early in the part of this year with his arm strength. They still have Mike.
Like, you watched that game last night with Russell Wilson. The way he could get out the pocket and keep a play alive, and his wide receivers know what he's gonna do and know how to keep themselves open when it's break down, and he extend the plays and give it to him, and he's a mobile quarterback. That was the problem for San Francisco last night. They over pursued too much. I know y'all watch film and notice he is a mobile quarterback. Why will you over pursue and get him open lanes to run? Yeah, he can throw the football. Yeah, he can be a pocket passer at time, but his best strong suit is to get outside the pocket and extend plays. Why will you over pursue a mobile quarterback? That what hurt him last night. They couldn't stop Russell Wilson. Then they gave him Josh Gordon to go along with Metcalf and Lockett. With Russell Wilson, yes, you could say it. You beat the best team last night with San Francisco. You beat them last night because they couldn't finish it off. They made little mistakes in that game. They had chances to win it, but they gave Russell Wilson another chance to take care of business, and he did. Drove it down the field and got that win. And yeah, you can't take nothing from the loss to the Falcons for the Saints. The Saints still a good team in the NFC. They still have Drew Brees. They'll be just fine. They could possibly play in the Super Bowl this year. Or Seattle, we don't know how it's going to turn out with it. But long Seattle got Russell Wilson back there, they going to be just fine. Because what he did last night was a playmaking ability.
Thomas, they still have Kamara. Their offensive line is going to play much better than it did Saturday. And don't forget, or Sunday, and Sunday's game, Marshawn Lattimore went out too. Like, that hurt their defense big time. So the Saints are still the best team in football. I agree. It is coach and quarterback. Well, I think it's coaches in quarterback, and I trust the coaches in New Orleans more.
With that thought in mind, I'm sorry, guys, I'm getting a phone. Was that Aaron Rodgers is calling to say, how the hell are you guys forgetting about me?
Yeah, sure. Look, Aaron Rodgers
He's talking about, yeah, sure.
Green Bay is great, but Green Bay has shown susceptibility to giving up some things that I don't like from a defensive standpoint.
I agree. Like Seattle's, listen, if Seattle's defensive line plays like it did last night, then we can have a conversation.
Look, we lauded San Francisco's run game. Seattle gave up 3.2 a carry.
Correct.
True. Yeah.
But they have not been that defensive line all season.
But damn, we coming into form. What point of the season we at? And think about history. What has Russell Wilson been from this point on for majority?
And you see the defense is coming together. They know they had to go in San Francisco, be locked in on defense. Because you let San Francisco run game get going, it's going to be a long night. And that's when they can do a play action fake and take over the game. When they slow that run down against San Francisco and made them one dimension, that's why they won that game and be able to get it to overtime, to be able to be in that situation to kick a field goal. Because that defense did their job. They stopped the run and made it one-dimensional.
Of the season.
You can't say Russell Wilson's not the best quarterback in football.
Yep.
You can't say he's not the best quarterback in football, and that's the dangerous one.
In the interest of accuracy, that wasn't actually Aaron Rodgers calling me. Next up, we go to very bad news for a team that could not afford it. The Chiefs on their defense. Defensive end Emmanuel Ogbah, the team leader in sacks, will miss the rest of the season with a torn pectoral muscle that he suffered in Sunday's loss to the Titans. He had 5.5 sacks for a much maligned defensive unit. And the current state of the Chiefs defense, it's just frankly not good. Coming off season worsts in yards per rush, in passer rating, in red zone efficiency. That came against a Tennessee offense that hadn't scored 35 points in 17 straight home games. So you find yourself, look at those numbers. I mean, worst tells a pretty significant story. So you find yourself asking a question I can't even imagine I'm asking. Is this defense so bad that even Patrick Mahomes can't lift it to the Super Bowl?
Yes, and this was my AFC pick to go to the Super Bowl.
Me too.
At the beginning of the season. But gee, yes, absolutely. Look, there are underlying factors when you start talking about Super Bowl runs and playoff runs. And the fact is, at times, can you play complementary football? Can I not score for 2 or 3 possessions and trust my defense to possibly give up only 3 or a field goal? And right now, Kansas City is not afforded that because of this defense. I love Pat Mahomes. This offense is going to be prolific. But the bottom line is they're losing games now with them being prolific.
Think about this. We are sitting here saying that Patrick Mahomes has to throw for about 500 yards a game for this team to go to the Super Bowl, for them to win a regular season game. Wrap your head around that. That is where this team is right now. History tells us one thing. We better pay attention to it. We said the same thing last year. Patrick Mahomes was going to be so good and so special that he would carry this team. And it didn't happen last year because the defense eventually became what we all thought it would become. This defense is worse this year.
It's worse than last year. The defense ain't played good since that Broncos game. That's the only good game they had. My last video, I know I talk about this, but at the same time, you're not winning no championship if your defense can't hold teams out of the end zone. Patrick Mahomes need help. He can do so much, but if your defense is horrible, ain't no way you gonna get in the Super Bowl. If they don't ordinary to get it this year, it's because of number 15. They have to figure out that issue come next year. Y'all have to get that defense better. Or y'all not going to win a championship.
They're worse this year. Last year, at least they could get to the quarterback. Last year, at least they could get sacks. They're not even doing that this year. So we expect Patrick Mahomes week after week after week.
And they let Ford go to San Francisco. And they let a couple good defensive guys get out of Kansas City that could pass rush. And just kept what they had. And they haven't worked out.
Hey, if you don't throw for 500 and score 40, we're not going to win a football game?
I want to quickly ask about complementary football because what you would consider doing there is trying. They score so quickly sometimes. They're so explosive. Sometimes in that regard, it almost works against them, right? Do they have the ability, does Andy Reid look at this thing and say, we have to, for lack of a better word, slow our offense down to keep our defense off the field?
Problem is, G, I don't know how you do it because that's actually your identity. Think about this, though. The Super Bowl last year, the score was 13-3.
Right.
At some point, you got to play defense.
Play D.
You have to in this league.
I get it, but I mean, they were in overtime with New England 2 weeks before that with a chance to win that game.
But the same thing we said last year. Like, yes, they were in overtime, but it didn't get there, and they are a lesser defense this year
and
than they were last year.
New England aren't world beaters on offense either.
That might work in their favor.
Yeah.
Well, one way or another, we'll see. There's certainly a lot more there. Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports, highlights, and analysis, be sure